We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Let's get to our NIL and recruiting report. All right. How you feeling, Manny? You feeling good?
Good. Oh, how are you?
I cannot complain, my brother. I am here at Canes. We're having some fun. So, and comfortable, nice in the AC. So that's a good thing. All right. We got Notre Dame. We are nine days out. Recruiting has gone through the roof for the Canes. What are the big names that plan to be there for the Notre Dame game?
Yeah, it's going to be like probably, I would say, more than 50 of the top recruits in the country coming down for that game, including a lot of Miami commitments, guys that are part of their 2026 class, from Joel Irving, the offensive tackle over on the other side of the west coast of Florida here, to Samarian Wingo from Jacksonville, Jordan Campbell, the linebacker. So you're going to have a lot of the Miami recruits in the house, including Javian Mallory, the running back, who was getting courted by some SEC schools. But the big names to track is going to be Derek Cooper, who, of course, committed to Texas earlier this summer. You have Jacob Curry, who's committed to Northwestern as a linebacker. Leaky Tompkins, a kid from Louisville, who's a potential flip candidate for Miami. And then a whole bunch of the top 2027 kids, including Braden Tyson, Julius Jones Jr., the offensive tackle, Mark Matthews from St. Thomas Aquinas, who's one of the best in the country. So, and Miami just picked up a commitment earlier this week from another 2027 guy who will also be there, Demarcus Ro from Cardinal Gibbons. So, a lot of big name kids that are the elite recruits. Obviously, want to see Miami win a big football game. You know, the Canes haven't won many of those so far in the Mario Cristobal era in terms of beating, top 5, top 10, top ranked teams.
It's time, bro. It's time.
It's time to deliver one of those wins. And Neiman Lawrence is another guy. He's a 28 kid, one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in his class. So this is the kind of game that can make some memories for some kids.
Well, when we were talking about it in our Canesware report earlier in the week, to me, dude, if the defensive coordinator comes through, that's it. It's time. It's time. You have on offense, you have what you need in order to win, but you can't have the imbalance that you had, with that defense. That defense has got to make. I know that it's hard to dominate on defense in today's game because it's just so, so spread out, but you got to get stops, dude. You got to get stops. And this is the year, dude. You have to. If not, then you start wondering, when's it going to happen? You know what I mean? How many more recruits do you need? And we've talked about this. You're not going to end up landing those elite recruits, like the really top-notch ones, all the time, unless there's winning tied to this.
Absolutely. And I keep trying to tell people that over and over again because they're like, oh, Miami's paying top NIL dollar for all of these guys. And they're like, how come we're not getting the best players in South Florida, like Derek Cooper, to stay home? And I'm like, well, he's going to Texas. Where's Texas been the last couple of years, right? They're in the national semifinals. They're in the SEC championship game. Kids want to play in big games. And, yesterday the SEC announced that they're going to a 9-game schedule. That is only going to hurt the ACC more and more, because think about how many SEC teams played ACC teams in those non-conference games. Those were opportunities for ACC teams to say, well, look, we play SEC teams. Well, now going forward, a lot of those games are going to get nixed. I mean, they'll probably still have Florida State, but when is Miami going to play Florida again, right? When are the Gators going to bother to put Miami on the schedule going forward if they're playing 9 SEC games? So there's a power disparity, and Miami is on the outside looking in. They're in a conference right now that is viewed as lesser, which means they have to do more. And these opportunities to play Notre Dame, to play Florida, you have to take advantage of them, or you're just always going to be playing from behind.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. All right, when we look at the 2027 class and the commitments earlier this week, tell me a little bit about Demarcus.
Yeah, DeRoche is a big-bodied, sort of freakish type kid. He's 6'6", 200 pounds. As a sophomore last year, he caught 10 passes for 165 yards. And then he played defense, had 11 tackles, 5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, was all over the field. Sometimes he'd line up at receiver. Sometimes they put him as DB. Sometimes they'd line him up off the edge to rush the quarterback. He'd play outside linebacker. I mean, the only things he didn't play were quarterback and offensive line. So he's a kid that plays basketball. He runs the 200 meters in track. He's a very diverse athlete and the kind of guy that, that usually ends up going elsewhere because Miami isn't in on him early enough. It's good that they have a commitment with him, that they have a relationship with him early on in the process, because this is the kind of kid who I think is going to blow up over the next 2 years. And look, you win games like the opener against Notre Dame, you beat Florida, you get to a college football playoff, you get to keep a kid like DeRoche. You don't win those games, odds are pretty good he's not going to stick around.
Bro, what are you talking about? Mario is working people from the crib, bro. Drayton Hester is like in pre-kinder, and they're talking.
Right.
No, seriously, he's like in 7th grade or something like that. I mean, Mario is working on. Did you hear about this? Drayton Hester, 7th grade.
Yep.
And Mario's already working on Devin Hester's kid, Drayton Hester, which again,
Yeah.
Devin Hester already has a kid in 7th grade, bro.
Well, it just shows you how time flies, right? I mean, listen, I got a 9th grader now myself, and she was I just remember her being in kindergarten, but that's the way it goes. Oh, I mean, time flies, and listen, he's offered 5th and 6th graders before, guys that are in elementary school that are, because he wants to start those relationships early. But I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everybody else when they ask me, well, why didn't we get this guy?
Well,
You haven't won shit. You haven't won shit for years.
You got to win. Yeah.
Because the money is the same. Oregon, Texas, Ohio State are going to pay them as much, if not more. And if they can offer that they're playing in important games and you can't, where do you have the edge? Oh,
Right.
I'm from home. These kids don't want to stay home anymore. Like, you really have to give them something to want to stay home.
Yeah, they don't. That's not a priority anymore for them. It's
No.
playing time and money, and if you win, if they're going to get playing time and money everywhere else, okay, all right, who's winning? Then that becomes the other part of the equation. And if you don't fill that one, then that's going to hurt you with the other places that can give them the PT and the money. Plus, they're going to win on top of all of that. Yeah. So to me, that's why this season is so important for Mario in that sense, because he must bust through that threshold. And if he doesn't, then the worst part about it becomes now, can Mario build a staff? Because if like the defensive coordinator doesn't come through or something, then people will be wondering, well, wait a minute, dude, we're how many years in and we can't find a staff? You can't, get the right players, this, that. And so that's why this is like a very, very important year for him. I think it's going to happen. I'm hoping it does, but man, you've got to start crossing that threshold. You got to.
You have to, and I agree with you. I mean, I put out my finished up my predictions. They're going to run next week, but I've got them making the college football playoff this year as an 11-1 regular season team, because I do think they're going to beat Notre Dame and Florida at home. I also think they're going to drop an ACC game they shouldn't.
Right? Yeah. Just get tripped up one time. I agree with that. Yeah.
And then I have them losing to Clemson, who I think is just a better team in the ACC championship game. So I think that'll be enough to get them one of the at-large berths. And look, that's a step forward. That's something they didn't do last year. That's something they didn't do last year. They had the opportunity to do it. So I think the defense will be better enough. But they could very much lose this opener against Notre Dame. And I think anybody who looks at Notre Dame and says, well, they've got a redshirt freshman quarterback, and so many of the guys that played in the national championship game are gone. Dude, Marcus Freeman knows how to push buttons. And let me tell you, they've got more blue chips on their roster than Miami does. So every single year, they load up with elite recruiting classes. Mario is just starting to get Miami back to that level. So, this is a game they could easily lose. And
it's a trench war.
Oh yeah,
It's a trench war, which by the way is kind of good for there's a break in this game for the Canes because we still don't know how good the secondary is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, your secondary really is not going to be like tested heavily probably in this game. But boy, that front seven, them boys are going to get a worn out job because Notre Dame's going to run. Period.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love is the best running back in the country in my mind. Like, I think he's going to be a Heisman finalist. I think, this Notre Dame team will get back to the playoffs because they're good enough. Their offensive line, I mean, they had a lot of kids play last year that got a ton of experience and won big games. Let's not forget, this team beat the SEC champion Georgia in the playoffs, right? And then they went and they beat Penn State here with a bunch of backups in key positions for them. So to me, yes, it's not the same exact Notre Dame team from a year ago, but if CJ Carr is as good as they think he can be, then I think Notre Dame can win the national championship. That's how good they are. I think they're good enough to do that. My question is, can you really count on a redshirt freshman to play mistake-free in game one? And I think that's where Miami has an opportunity to steal this game.
All right. What do you got going on in the Athletic, my man, so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I've been telling you guys that my duties have changed quite a bit. I'm part of a three-headed monster team that's in charge of roster construction and talking to people all around the country in terms of the way people are building it. And we just put out our first Portal Buzz column. Sam Kahn, Antonio Morales, and I. We just spent a week in Nashville a couple of weeks ago talking to a bunch of personnel people, and so it's a good little sort of look at new additions to rosters nationwide and big picture look at roster building. So if you're into all that, you're trying to see what's going on in college football in an age when so much is changing because of the transfer portal, because of NIL and guys moving around, and who are sort of the guys you should expect some surprises from, then you're going to want to read that column every single week because it's going to have that kind of stuff in there.
All right, good stuff as always. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. And, of course, our friends at BigCheeseMiami.com, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. Go check them out. The pasta is shipped from Italy, cooked fresh daily. The hurricane memories on the walls are endless for 40 years, man. Go see Gary. Started off with Gary and Billy over 40 years ago. Billy, rest in peace. We miss you, brother. 305-662-6855. All dishes can become platters. So if you want to have a party at your home or at your office or school or any kind of workplace, call the Big Cheese and they can deliver it or you can pick it up. 305-662-6855. And they're at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
You too, brother. Talk soon.
You got it. Have a great weekend.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!